Is it up?
Yes.
Well, that's still not in.
It's a good evening, everyone, and welcome to Party Marty. Let's talk. Good evening,
Good
Gina
evening.
Lee.
Hey,
Good
hey,
evening,
everybody.
Bianca.
Hey, everybody.
All
Welcome
right,
back,
y'all.
CC.
Thank you.
For some reason, I don't know why, Donnie, I didn't come in. But anyway, y'all know the drill. I'm Party Marty. Let's talk. This is our little show that we do here, our podcast that I'm going to get right for you in a second. All right, there we go. We'll start like this till we move along there. First of all, good evening to the panel. Good evening, Gina Lee.
Good evening.
Good evening, Bianca.
Hey, everybody.
There we go. If anybody doesn't know what our format is, we podcast. We talk about important events that's happening in our world today. Our format is a roundtable thing. Everybody chimes in. They speak on their topic for a little while, and they move right along. So that's pretty much about it. You're gonna give me a second. I'll be getting my computer.
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can hear you too, but I didn't see. But anyway, I'll start this, and then we'll go from there. Um, if anybody hasn't been watching for a while, what we do is we make sure that we honor ourselves with a prayer before every show. We never forget to do our prayer because prayer is important. And if a lot of you persons don't know, let me explain some things to you. It doesn't matter if you worship Honorable Elijah B. Muhammad. Doesn't matter if you worship my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Doesn't matter if you worship the Jewish faith. Don't matter if you worship Buddha. I don't care if you worship trees in the green forest and blue Cadillacs. Everybody prays the one God. We all pray to what's called God, a God of your understanding, God. So always think about that, y'all. Just remember, pray to somebody. Have some type of what are we looking for, baby? Some
Hey,
type of
Faith.
faith. That's the word I was looking for. What an awesome panel we have. Some type of faith, y'all. In this time we need it. In this time we need it. All right, y'all. We got a few topics that we're gonna hit on. We're gonna get our prayer in first, and we always stop and we have a moment of silence, and then we get into the program. Prayer start. Father God, thank you for all the wonderful things that's happening in all our lives. Father God, we always make sure to pray for all those people over there fighting them God-forsaken wars, that we can live over here and do podcasts, go bowling, watch the Ravens, what have you, eat bonbons. Father God, keep them safe. Father God, we always special prayer for the pandemic, the persons that are dying from this terrible disease. And if anybody else doesn't understand this, y'all, have your own faith, make your own decision in it. But my prayer to you is get the shot. Get the shot. You need to get something to get some solution to this crisis that we're going into. Father God, please keep everybody close. Father God, keep us in your circle. Father God, please help us say the right words in the podcast. Father God, keep the program strong. Moment of silence, please. Amen.
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 All right, y'all. Here's what we're going to do. We're going off a little different today. We're going to start off with a round table. I'm going to ease over into my post, let my wife do her thing. But what we're going to talk about for a while here is the gas crisis. B, where are you at, B?
so I'm in Virginia Beach, Virginia, and
B's in Virginia Beach, Virginia. And tell us about your situation that you just now went through.
so we just left to go do some things outside the house, and I was telling um Party, I'm sorry, do they call you, what do they call you up here?
Party. I'm
Okay,
Party Marty,
all
baby.
right. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, the main gas stations, the streets were blocking traffic on the interstate, on the roads, on the main roads, and then the smaller gas stations, a lot of those stations are covering up their gas pumps, with the bags, and saying they don't have gas or diesel only. So it's gotten kind of crazy. People are kind of panic buying right now. So.
And so for those who aren't aware of what Bianca is talking about, it's my understanding that the Colonial Pipeline, there was a cyber attack on a Colonial Pipeline, and that caused a gas shortage from, they said, Florida to Virginia. So the president said that they're on top of it and that they expect things to return back to normal by the end of the week. So for those who are late to get this story like me, that's just a little bit of clip notes on what she's talking about, because they probably like, what in the world?
Yeah,
what is she
I
talking
was
about?
confused at first today too until I saw those lines and I was like, oh, okay. Got crazy.
So what do you know about that situation, Gina Lee? You always know something about, a little bit about a lot of everything that's going on. So what do you know about that we don't know?
Well, only thing that I'll mention is the fact that they seem to think that there was a Russian group that's hacked into the system again and has caused this havoc. And we need to, but as a country, it's time. It's time for them to address, our I guess our
Our
interest.
vulnerabilities.
Yes, our interest with Russia. And it's we really, when Biden put his infrastructure bill together, part of this falls under infrastructure as well. So we need to support these kinds of things, because this is when they can hack into our oil and gas. The next thing is going to be water.
Right.
And God forbid some type of microbial threat happens to our water supply, and we're done.
Right. And they also, they said that our power supply and our water supply was also very vulnerable to this kind of attack. Excuse me, y'all. I'm trying to get in the frame. But they said the power supply and the water supply are unregulated, meaning that they would also be vulnerable to these types of attacks. And really, we don't have any protections in place.
And here, what the problem is too is the panic buying. When something small happens and they announce it, and then people just blow it up to even bigger than what it was. So whereas yes, there's a gas shortage, but now that people are panic buying, the gas shortage is even more severe. So same thing they did with when the pandemic first hit. People didn't need 15,000 rolls of toilet paper, but then they went to the store and bought all of it, and then you have prices going up, and it's good for the economy, but it's not good for the consumer, the individual consumer. So,
right.
I think we just
real talk. Hey, listen, y'all can hear me. I'm working on what I'm doing, but I'm party. Y'all know, as long as you hear me, my wife will be my figurehead today. That's how I look in the morning, y'all, when I just get up after I got myself together and all.
He wished.
Hey, anyway, it's really ironic. I guess it's even hard to imagine or fathom words that I can't think about where we are now. I want y'all to think about exactly where we are. How did we get here? How are we running around in society with a mask on? I mean, how are we being held hostage? We're good. How are we being held hostage from gas? I mean, go ahead. Shit, I was in, Donnie. Put that on, man.
There you go.
All right, we good now. All right, now, this handsome young man that you looked for right
This
before you
is
was
a
me.
message from your sponsors. Check it out, Party Marty. We
Yeah.
multitasking over here. You lose your seat on your feet, you lose your seat. Okay. Have a great show.
I ain't got time for you later, Donnie. If y'all didn't know that person that jumped in, that's our producer. Anyway, real talk, y'all. Let's think about this. How did we get here, y'all? How did we get here? We are running around all day long with masks on. How did we get here? Somebody's holding us hostage from gas. How did we get here? Children are learning online and not going to school. How did we get here? I mean, let's think about this. Who would have thought we would ever be in this position? We are living no different than a third world country at this particular time. You know, we look at some things that we take for granted that I've always taken for granted. Whoever would have thought that we would be in the position that we're in today? Once again, how did we get here? When you see shows like this, not just our show, any show that's trying to give you some information. If you don't know our format, our producer is Donnie Glover from blackusa.news, bmorenews.com. He's Channel 11 political analyst. He's an author, unapologetically black, and a new book's coming out as we speak. If people like us are giving you formats, people like him are giving you platforms, how are we not paying attention to this? How are we not paying attention to this? Gina Lee up in my left-hand corner is a historian. She's a historian. All she likes to do is look stuff up. You know, it's stuff out here that we wouldn't know. B, we just found out last week from our historian, Lexington Market in town, where we live at. Underneath of Lexington Market is a whole uh um I would call what exactly would you call it, Gina? Downstairs under
Vault
Lexington
under under the market.
under the market. They call it a vault, but to
There,
us it's a nightclub. You feel me? To us it's an eatery. It's a whole like city down there to us where people went and danced and partied and laughed and ate and everything like that. And we've been walking over top of it for hundreds of years and didn't know. The people in the market didn't know. It's information, y'all. It's information. When we call people up and they want to talk about stuff, y'all, please talk about it. That lets me segue in. Here's how we do, B. I'm going to use Gina, who came up with it, as my guinea pig. I'm going to show you how it's done, and then you'll be on deck. What I do is I say, let me think. I'm Party Marty. What's your topic this evening, Gina? But it's really going to be your B, so I want you to know how it works. What's your topic this evening, Gina? Huh. I'm Party Marty. Let's talk. And then Gina will say, go, Gina.
I'm Gina Lee, reporting for Party Marty. Let's talk. My topic tonight is: did you know they were actually considering, or they're not considering, it's going to happen. They are going to put Maya Angelou and Sally Reed on the front of quarters starting January 2022. It's already done, signed, bill, everything.
Who is that going on again? Who again?
Maya Angelou. They going on the quarter.
Okay.
The 25-cent quarter.
Okay.
But first of all, this was done back in last month. And I'm just hearing about it. I'm a little heated about this issue. So now, I mean, and don't get me wrong, I like Maya Angelou. You know, Maya Angelou, a great civil rights, activist, a great poet. Okay, Sally Ride. Sally Ride was a NASA astronaut. She was the first woman to go into space. Okay.
Okay.
Now, My thing is, y'all remember back when Obama was in administration, he signed a bill for Harriet Tubman to be on the $20 bill.
Yeah.
Okay. Then they had a delay, so they say. And the delay, so Mnuchin said, was because he felt that the bill could be counterfeited. Okay. But they got these quarters coming out already signed, ready to go, pressed, good to go, coming out in January.
Wow.
Okay.
And don't
Now,
forget, there was a
this
coin shortage
is as
too.
a result, this is as a result of the that there's gonna be 7 designs from Maya Angelou. 7. And each quarter will depict an interpretation of her autobiography. I know why the caged bird sings. So she's
Okay.
gonna have a cage in one hand and a bird in the other. Okay. And you, you see my face, right? And and so they're saying that the United States Treasury has picked 20 women to be featured on the quarters between
Excuse me.
2022 and 2025. Okay, with 5 saluted each year. They haven't told us who the next ones are. Okay, but these women are supposed to represent suffrage, civil rights, government, science, space, and some other things. Okay, now it's supposed to be against the law to depict a living person on a coin. So each of the people that they're picking is supposed to be an historical figure. But each of these women's going to be on the back of the quarter because George Washington's likeness by law must remain on the front. You see my face, right? Now, the U.S. Mint is overseeing this project, and they're the ones, and the Secretary of the Treasury are the ones that give final approval to this. As I said, Sally Ride, first woman astronaut. Okay. All of these women that will be chosen have been chosen by the Secretary of the Treasury. Now, Janet Yellen was the one who picked, along with the Smithsonian Institute of American History Initiative, the National Women's History Museum, and the Congressional Bipartisan Women's Caucus. You know, ain't no black woman on none of them, right? Okay. Now, the U.S. Mint is going to announce the next set of women that'll be part of this quarter program. Okay. Now, I'm going back to Harriet Tubman and why Harriet Tubman is not on the $20 bill, because this was supposed to take place and coincide with the anniversary of the 19th Amendment giving women the right to vote back in 2020. That's when that was supposed to happen. She was supposed to be placed on the back of the $20 bill. But Trump's administration decided this wasn't going to happen. Isn't it ironic that the $20 bill is what made the police pull George Floyd up in the first place? Isn't that ironic?
Wow.
Well,
Wow.
just to let you know that the plate that they pressed the bills with, Harriet Tubman's plate has been ready to print since 2018. This was just a slap in the face. You can say what you want to say. Harriet Tubman is an American hero. This woman was born into slavery, came back 19 times to take her family and others to freedom, all the way to Canada. None of us could do that. None of us. Now,
Miss Gina,
Go ahead, B.
I was going to say, don't forget.
I'm curious about it because I play Harriet Tubman in my acting prowess. That's one of the characters that I depict. So I know a whole lot about Harriet Tubman. And, you know, it's really a slap in the face. You can say what you want to say. That, you know, I mean, okay, so you put Maya Angelou on.
Hey, B. Go ahead, B. What were you saying?
I was just going to say, she was talking about the different contributions that Harriet Tubman has made, and a lot of times we overlook the fact that Harriet Tubman was a spy for the Union Army.
Right.
You know, and that was, of course, you know, we know about the Underground Railroad, but a lot of people overlook that fact that she was one of the key figures that helped us win the Civil War as well. So, you know, that's something that, you know, she doesn't get credit enough for too. So I definitely, you know, I get the frustration behind that 100%.
Yeah. If you don't know, B, Jean is an actress. That's what she does. She acts. Yeah, she acts at arena players. She acts all over the place. She's an actress, and her claim to fame is the role that she plays as Harriet Tubman.
Okay.
Everyone gets her for it. She's done it everywhere. She's awesome with it. I mean, a real awesome thing. So she feels that. As you see, we're a passionate panel. We sit back and think about what we're doing until, you know, we get in where we fit in. Whenever you have something to comment, jump right in there. That was a key part, a key point, as you were saying, that she was also a spy. You know, hey Gina, welcome back. I thought for a minute that, you know, the powers that be were the ones that knocked her out, CC and B. You know what I mean?
And she came back with that same disgusted look on her face.
Yeah.
I
thought Trump was back. Boy. I thought the good old boys had got her again. Hey, listen, moving along. As I was talking about my format, if we didn't know, it's just where we're at today. Just how did we get here? You know, if we don't know, just some of this is unbelievable. Gina, some of this is unbelievable. I'll hold for a minute. You're muted, Gina. You
Okay,
on there,
I can hear
Gina?
you. I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead. Get back in there, Gina. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just saying I'm serious about this because, you know, and like I said, I'm not holding anything against Maya Angelou, okay, nor Sally Ride. I'm just saying, but there are so many reasons that this is a slap in the face. Here we've been pushing for Harriet Tubman to be on currency for what, 4 years now. And like I said, the Treasury has already confirmed that the plate is made, but, you know, but the Secretary of the Treasury going to say that they're worried about counterfeiting. But you've already made coins, quarters, you know, with Maya Angelou and Sally Ride on them.
So what's the big difference? What's the big difference that the bill could be counterfeited with Harriet Tubman on it? It can't be counterfeited the way it currently stands. I mean, people counterfeit money every day. So what difference does it make whose pictures on the money? And then when they finally when they finally put a black person's picture on money, it's going to be a coin.
And I mean, this is really just their bigoted supremacist views showing. That's all. That's
Yeah.
all. They're just showing.
And Miss Gina, don't forget, it was just a coin shortage not too long ago. So whatever happened to the coin shortage?
There you go. There you
Oh,
go. But you,
yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, so y'all made us think that we couldn't get change at the grocery store. All the while, you could have made change. You could have made more coins
Ex-
like you're doing with these new coins.
Exactly.
But
there you
Wow.
go.
I think a
There you
lot of
go.
it though is, and Party, you were talking about, how did we get here? How did society get to the place that it is today? I think a lot of it is performative on behalf of the government and these major agencies and corporations. They do a lot of performative things. Like it's performative to put Maya Angelou on a coin when you still haven't had policy change as to who can get the coin or how easy it is to get the coin. And then in terms of how did we get here, I think a lot of that is people are reactive. We're reactive instead of proactive.
Right.
And
Correct.
so we're reacting. Like you said, this whole coin thing, that's already in the make. They've already made the coins,
That's done.
printed them, all
It's
that stuff,
done.
and we're just reacting to it instead of we're not in the actual process. Like you said, who's on these boards? Are there any people who look like you and this whole panel on these boards to actually make the decisions of who's going to be on these coins? So that would be proactive, but instead we're reactive.
Well,
That's
as
just like I just heard today that they get ready to cancel the Grammys for next year because the foreign press contains there's no black people. Period. No, well, I say no people of color
okay.
anyway in the foreign press. So it can't be fair. So we have no Grammys next year.
Wow.
And another
Well,
thing too, with that performative thing, like you said with the Grammys, I think the president of the National Recording Society, I think she's a black female. But there's a difference when we think inclusion. There's a difference between having one black person on the board and having
right.
a board of multiple, not just black people, Native Americans, Pacific Islanders, things like that. That's inclusion. That's true inclusion. And
But a lot of people don't think that we understand the difference between inclusion and having a token to shut us up.
right,
There's a difference.
it's a big
Yeah, that's why Gina was saying just natural people of color. People always think that all people of color are black, and that's not true. I mean, Mexicans are
Right.
people of color. You know what I mean? I found out off topic. Baseball is my sport. I play a lot of sports, but baseball is my sport. I found out that in baseball, it's like something tedious, like 8% black people are playing. Because when you look at people of color from Jamaica, from this, and you always think they're black, and they aren't. And they aren't. You know what I mean? A lot of times we don't know. We look at persons, and my wife and I always say the new thing is now that if you ever watch commercials now, every commercial has a mixed couple on it. Yeah, why? Everybody has a mixed couple on it now. You know what I mean? That's the new thing that we're trying to do to involve everybody. We want to be politically correct. You have people that B's talking about being proactive. You have people that are doing things to be proactive in the media so that they can make sure that they touch all the points so they can get their listening audience and their spending audience. But things of that matter to us, something small as putting Harriet Tubman on a $20 bill, they will spend $1 billion just to make sure that it doesn't happen. They will go
Yep.
out their way
Yep.
to sabotage these things. It's something. Gina, great topic. I know you have two. You'll come back again. B, if you're watching, you're seeing how we do things now. That gets me to segue in. When I say it, let me segue in. That's my smooth move, B, when I get ready to go to something else. A topic that we're talking about, B is an educator too. She's also a public school teacher. And I want to weigh in on that topic. People don't understand. One of our panel members, Twala, a lot of people are doing stuff because they're home now because of the kid thing and all. Twala has kids, so she's finishing up what she's doing. Brittany and Frank, everybody's doing the kid thing. So we come up and make our own decisions, B, and I made a mistake there. One day I was talking, what did I do this for? I said, just don't make no mistake. Don't you know that they canceled school because the kids said it was too much snow? Now, let me get this straight. You're homeschool learning, and you're going to tell me that you canceled school. You mean to tell me they couldn't make it to the living room from their bed? They're having homeschool. I said that, and what did I say that for, B and Gene? And see, I opened up a can of worms. All the teachers in the world called me, hit me, kicked me back, and explained to me it's a lot more to going to school than this. It's a lot more to it. I mean, they were saying, and I said, why are they going back to school now? Me and Cece talking about this. My granddaughter, Tajay, went back to school today or something, right, see? How she go back to school and school get ready to end in a month? That don't make any sense
I
to
know.
me. So
None.
I needed some people who have a different point of opinion. I'm asking for some teachers. Next week we have Miss Marietta English, who in Baltimore is the president of the Teachers Association or school board or something like that. And people are going to give us their opinion. So as we segue in, B, I want to know what's your opinion or your personal take on this as being a teacher. I mean, are you worried about the kids bringing in the pandemic? Because people don't know. You can go to school as a kid and be fine. But you can still get you can still have corona and take it home to grandma that's 84 and she died. You could take it home to some teachers and they can get sick. James Mosier Little League Association, which Donnie Glover and I are a big part of, didn't have baseball again this year. And I asked Michael Singletary, who's an advocate of it, that does a lot of the spokesmanship for us. I say, why are they not having Little League? And Mike said something to me point blank. He said, because most of the coaches are old. Most of the coaches up in the age, they nervous to come out there running around hands on with these kids teaching and stuff like that. So once again, as I segue in, remember what Gina did, B. I'm gonna see if you've been watching. I do it like this. I say, let me see. Hey B, my name's Party Marty. What's your topic today? I'm Party Marty. Let's talk.
So, do I say my name's Bianca, and today we're talking about should kids be in school or not?
Good
What
job.
did you
Hands
say?
up, panel. Hands up. Hands up, panel. Good job. Good job. Good job. You did it. You did it. You did it. That's what's up. Now let's go.
I had a good teacher, Miss Gina.
Yeah.
So just a little backstory. I've been teaching in the classroom for about 3 years. This year being my third, I've also taught homebound, which is for the students who can't come to school, if they're pregnant or have an illness, things like that. And I also tutor on the side, but my main occupation is I'm a 6th grade special education teacher. So that was just a little background. So actually, Party, I've been teaching since the pandemic began, actually. So I actually taught last summer in the school face-to-face in the height of the pandemic. I teach a summer program called, for special or students with special needs in the summer. And that was interesting because I had first grade and first graders trying to keep a mask on.
Forget it.
Was very interesting. And social distancing. And then I've actually been in the school face to face since February and the first part of the school year. So September, October, and then February until now. So I've been face to face pretty much the entire pandemic. And a lot of people were like, well, how did you feel about that? Blah, blah, blah. Because it is a scary feeling. And I completely understand people's concerns, but we really have tried to take every necessary safety precaution. Like I said, when I was teaching the first grade, it's different from 6th grade because 6th grade, they're going to keep their mask on for the most part.
Okay.
But the first graders, I had to put tape around their desks so they stayed in their little bubble. A lot more redirection, like That is a mask, not a dry erase marker. Do not wipe your boards with that. A lot of hand washing, things like that. But me personally, I'm an advocate for sending your kids to school because the kids just are not learning the same way. Um, and it's because they have so much going on at home. Like you said, they jumped on you about the whole it's snowing, how can you not go to school?
Right, right, right.
But then you have to think about, well, electricity or heat. You know, the snow takes out people's Wi-Fi. You got some people who have. I had a little girl who was in a hotel room with. It was about 8 people in her hotel room, which four
Wow.
of them were school age kids. So imagine four school age kids, four different teachers, four different types of online learning going on.
Yeah, it's
So
too much.
when you think about kids being at home learning, you have to think about the bigger picture and all the students and all their different backgrounds that are going on. I teach at a Title I school, which is a school where the majority of the kids get free or reduced lunch, meaning that most of our kids are live below poverty level.
You're muted, B.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I got you. Go ahead.
Sorry. In those situations, it's really hard for the kids to solely focus on what they're learning. I've taught lessons where I've had a student and I'll tell their, siblings, come over here to this camera. Do you see your brother learning? I need you to leave him alone. And where are you supposed to be? Let me help you get to your class because the parents aren't home. The parents are working, which you can't
Wow.
fault the parent for working. They got to work. They got to put food on the table. But at the same time, you have third graders raising their kindergarten siblings. Or, the oldest kid in the house could be 7 years old. So it's difficult in the home setting for them to solely focus on the instruction. And then not only that, but think about the different type of learners that we have. Like I said, I'm a special education teacher. So my kids, they really thrive off of that hand to hand learning.
Correct.
Whereas me talking to them like this all day long, they're looking at me like, Miss Harmon, can we go? When is lunch? When is lunch? How long is this class? When can I go? All that stuff. But when we're face to face, I've had students who are failing all their classes. We switch to face, they're on honor roll.
Wow.
And that's because they're able to focus on the actual lesson at hand, as well as kind of those social interactions are so important. I don't think people realize how important social interactions are with adults and with other students. When they're at home, they're not even thinking, especially for those students who are I would say under 10th grade, they're not even thinking they're in school for real. I got kids in bed with their pajamas on watching TV and supposed to be listening to me at the same time.
Let me ask you this, B. Since we're looking at school for another month, your professional opinion is doing this for a while. Would you have sent them back for this last month? Would you have waited? What would your, as a teacher, your view have been?
So it depends. Here in Virginia Beach, we're offering a crap ton of summer opportunities for them to learn. So like we just also got some students back face to face for this like last month and some change too. But they're going to be able to at least pass. A, Missing work was a big thing, and a lot of students were failing because of missing work or low attendance. And so with this last month, what I've seen various schools do is offer different incentives. Like if you come to school, you can do all your makeup work from the last 2 months and we'll give you grades for those. And that way that can boost you up so you'll at least pass the whatever grade. So it could be that they're giving incentives like that. I don't think it's a bad thing because it gets them back in the swing of school.
Now that being said, can you actually hold these students back? Can you fail them because they didn't do good? I mean, because there's so many students in there that are probably
Yeah,
failing.
yeah. And unfortunately, the numbers are crazy for like failures. It is crazy. And The school, I don't know about, Baltimore City or county, but I know here they're offering so many incentives for students to get the work in. Like, there should be no reason why you fail. Like, I know here, if you even say you missed all your virtual classes
Okay.
and what weren't actually in class, as long as you did the assignment, they were still counting you as present.
Okay.
So, like, to me, there should be absolutely no reason that you should fail. But at the same time, there are kids who have like 50, 60 missing assignments. And then you talk to the parents and they're like, oh, well, I was at work and I didn't know they weren't turning anything in. So it's kind of like, it depends on, they are gonna fail some kids. But if your child failed, it's because your child, I hate to say it, but they deserve to fail.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
You know,
that being said, excellent points there, B. Gina, CC, you got a opinion on that?
I think that if if the circumstances, as Bianca explained it, that they are offering incentives over the summer to help the students do better, then I think that that's a totally different situation. But if we are just sending these children back to school for a month, and then in June when school gets out, that they're still going to get, school is still going to be over for them, then I think that that's like, that doesn't make much sense in the grand scheme of things to me, because I think that they could have taken that extra month instead of sending the kids back to school. They could have took that to put more safety precautions in place. You know what I'm saying? To be extra ready when school starts back in August or whatever, whenever it starts now. One time it's August, one time it's September, but whenever school starts back, so they could have those extra measures in place. Because to me, it just feels like it's something that's rushed. Because, as Bianca said, a lot of children uh, do not learn well virtually. A lot of adults don't learn well virtually. Virtual learning is very hard. I took college courses online and I thought that it would be very easy because I was home, I was in my own space, I could be in my pajamas if I wanted, business on the top, party on the bottom, whatever. But it was, I think, one of the most challenging things that I've ever done. And I said, I respect any teacher who can teach that way and any student who can learn that way. I mean, I was able to do it, but I think I would have done better in the classroom.
That being said, we're dealing with a situation here, B, that you may or may not be aware of. Gina Lee is going to chime in on this. She did a whole 2 day format on, what was it, 1 point, what was the grade point average of the kid at that school?
0.13.
0.13. And he was in what grade? The 12th?
He was
Go ahead.
he was in the ninth grade, but they had almost 200 kids that weren't even accounted for, and the school was receiving money for kids that weren't even attending the school. And then you had kids that were actually in the school with a grade point average of 0.13 and being passed on to the next grade.
And one kid hadn't been to school. What was the one child hadn't been to school in 200 days? Some stuff like that. He said, I ain't been there 200 days. And he passed.
And even their parents admitted, my child hasn't been to school since 2017. They admitted that.
One young man was still on the roll and he was in prison. He had been in prison for 2 years and he was still on the roll of the school. They were still getting funding for him. They was passing him on from grade to grade. And he been in prison for 2 years. He said I don't know nothing about. They interviewed him on the news. He said, I don't know nothing about these grades. I ain't been in school since 2017.
You know that.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, B. This is what we do. Do your thing. Hey,
I was
B,
just gonna,
if you quiet around here or you scared, this is the wrong place for you. Do your thing. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that's a systematic issue all day long. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's the system that failed. That's
yeah,
not just that school, because everybody has a supervisor. Even the
Right.
superintendent has a supervisor. So that's the
exactly.
system that failed. You know who are the truancy officers at the school? You know, who are the guidance counselors who's supposed to be checking on these high schoolers? Who are the social workers doing the home visits? You know, so it's not just one person's head who should roll. It's a system that
Yeah,
failed these
you
kids.
you
And
know,
and, and with the first student who, well, I guess brought this to all of our attention that this was going on at this school, the one with the 0.13 GPA, his mother had the audacity to be on the news and be like, the school system failed my child. I do totally agree with you, B, that it's a systemic problem. But at the same time, if your child can go all the way through school and have those poor grades,
Oh yeah, the
you
parents are part of
as
the
a parent.
system.
yeah,
The
and he
parents
couldn't
are
read.
the parents
You
are
could tell he can't read. Come
100%.
on.
When I tell y'all that, and I love my parents, but when I tell you that the parents are I think, more difficult part of the job when it comes
Exactly.
to teaching than it is the students, because your child has not been to school, and why are you okay with your ninth grader not turning in assignments and having this low of a GPA? That means
Yeah.
that you as a parent don't set the bar to, you don't set a standard for your child, and then you expect us to,
You-
Right.
set
But
a
I think that some parents don't realize that in order for the student to be successful, it has to be a partnership between home and school. You know what I'm saying? It can't be all on the teacher. It can't be all on the school system, and it can't be all on the parent. It takes everybody in that village to be everybody in that person to be that child's village.
And parents
it-
have to. I have a huge problem with, especially dealing with kids with special needs. You have to advocate for your child.
yeah.
Like, that's a huge part too. You have to advocate for your child, even your teenagers. People, especially we as Black people, we get so caught up in the whole "you 18, so you grown." But really, are you? And what skills have you taught them? You have to be an advocate for your child. I've worked at schools where parents are overly involved, and they're like the hover parents who want everything right then and there for their child. And then I worked at schools where the parents don't even know the teacher, like who their teacher is. So,
Wow. You,
like you said, Cece, it's all a puzzle, and all these pieces have to align for your child to be successful.
there's everybody out there in TV land that's listening. This is what these podcasts is about: information gathering. Like I explained to everybody, if you're listening, it's not a black show, it's not a white show, it's an informative show. Information is power. We come to you from blackusa.news. We come to you from uh, BeMoreNews.com. Our sponsor is Donnie Glover. We have a bunch of these podcasts that come on every morning from 10 to 11. Donnie Glover's on the air with information. His show is usually about politics. It's usually a bunch of people that's influential persons with an opinion. And this is what he does. He throws it out there. And every night he gives somebody else a format. We got Sister Biz. We got the round table, the town hall meeting. We have myself at our group on we're Party Marty, let's talk. We have a lot of these things going on. It's people that are out there. Brenda Bailey, let's use Brenda Bailey as an example. We call her BB. She's one of the co-workers that work with me at Perkins, and she's a friend. She gets on here every time that she get a chance. Every episode, she comments. She has something to say. When she gets on Facebook or whatever we do, she plugs everybody, talks about the good show. And y'all get some information. Call and Gloria Edmonds, my best friend, his wife. Get some information. Y'all learn some things. This segues into another topic that we were having. When I was talking, and I bring this to you because I want you to know, Donnie, myself, and the other panel members and people that have put these on, we go out our way to try to bring people for you with opinions that could give you something. We give you Gina Lee, who is a historian that does a lot of research. Today, we're giving you Bianca, who's a school teacher, to give you her opinion. My wife is a geek. All she does is read. She's a nerd. My wife, as I say, reads a ketchup bottle. She reads everything. You know, if you look over here on the back on my board, my wife angled the camera because she says, you know, somebody could be looking at the board and picking up your social security. So I'm like, I don't be knowing nothing crazy like that. You know what I mean? That's how y'all minds are thinking. So I'm saying we bring this out to y'all. Someone told me, and B, this is where it started. When I said something about them not having school, and Twila, a panel member, started telling us that this thing is big business. People gotta burn gas. That's why they opening schools. Somebody has to cut the grass. That's why they opening the schools. The janitor has to clean the building. That's why they open schools. She said, Maurice, don't you realize that people got to go to the cleaners to get their clothes clean, the Biancas of the world, whatever they make in their salary, you take $8,000 a year off for having clothes on, for the cleaner's bill, for having a cup of coffee, for having gas. It's a lot to having schools open. It's
Now
not a game to them.
remember, just because kids weren't in schools doesn't mean schools were closed. You still had plenty of teachers working from the actual building too. And you still had people running the schools. The schools were not closed like
I did not know that. I
yeah,
did not know that.
yeah, you
I
still had the custodian staff had to come in there, you know, the whole nine. So just because schools, the students couldn't necessarily come. Now, when the pandemic first started, of course, like nobody was allowed in the school.
right.
But now, school, the students may not be able to come in, but you still have a staff running. You got to run the water to make sure that's straight. You got to, you know what I mean? So you
Yeah.
still have staff in the actual schools. Here in Virginia Beach, every student has free lunch, no matter what your income is, no matter whatever. So you still got cafeteria ladies coming in making lunches. So people are still getting paid. The people who it hurts the most that people don't really think about are your substitute teachers. Think about how many people make a life off of substitute teaching, and
I was
that
one. I was
right.
one. I substituted for 2 years when I was trying to continue going back to school, and it was killing me.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of information. B, thank you very much for that topic. I'm going to use that to segue in myself. Here's what I want to do. This is Hey, wait a minute. Let me do my thing. Um. Let me think. Party Marty, what's your topic for today? I'm Party Marty. Let's talk. Oh, how you doing? From I'm Party Marty. Let's talk. I'm Party Marty, and I'm coming to you throughout TV land to give you my topic. My topic is to segue in on what B was talking about, what people don't know. My state time started with Baltimore City Child Protective Services. A lot of persons don't have a lot of information on that. B was saying the parents are at school. I mean, the parents are at work. A lot of the kids are home and they're doing this and doing that. And what people don't know, you do know that you're breaking the law. Did you know that a child is 8, 9, 10, 11, or 12 can't watch a child that's 4, 5, or 6? It's against the law. We have a system. It's called a latchkey kid, meaning kids get out of school at 3 o'clock. Parents don't get home till 5. If there's a child in that house that's over 13 years old, and someone else that needs to comment can correct me, but I did this for a living. I was Baltimore City Child Protective Service Transportation Supervisor. That was my state time. If a child is there with watching this kid from 3 to 5 till you get home, it's fine. But a child that's 12 years old can't watch a child that's 14. Now that doesn't make any sense to you, doesn't make any sense to anybody, didn't make any sense to me. It's all about crunching the numbers. Who can watch who can do this, who can do that. So a lot of persons don't know, which I didn't think about until B was talking about that topic. But she was saying there's persons in the hotel room that are trying to watch TV. Kids aren't really paying much attention or being attentive because they don't know, but their parents have to go to work. We have to go to work. We have to go to work. It's a lot going on now that's just different. Back to the format, what I was saying. How did we get here? How did we get here? Gina Lee be your new Gina Lee and I grew up together. I've been Gina's
Yep,
friend since the kindergarten. We went to kindergarten together. I've been knowing Gina over 60 years. We worked together. We done everything, play a summer school job. And Gina's family is on your field. Gina's family is politicians and educators. That's what they are. Her parents and them and everybody in the family, they either politicians or educators. And do you know that Gina didn't play with us? Gina will tell you the story. She got out every day. They picked her up in the car. Then she went on when she finally was able to hang out with people after school. Guess what Gina said? Where'd you go, Gina? Around the corner where? Gina went around the
to my
corner
grandmother's house.
to her grandmother's house. They just as tough as she was, and Gina was tough as the rest of us, and she was smart as the rest of us, not vulnerable. People just didn't take chances with their children. They didn't take chances with their children.
It was
You
a
know,
different time, though.
yeah, that was a different time. How do we get like we are now? Remember back in the day, anytime somebody did something to you, what did they say? Find an adult. Go find a parent. If somebody do something to you, go find an adult. Now we didn't know that Uncle Jim is the one that's doing it. You're being fondled now by your uncle, by the adults. How did we get here? How did we get to the point where we can't trust each other as an adult? We just didn't know. Baltimore City Child Protective Services has so many cases of persons that are just so vulnerable that they just didn't know. You were letting Uncle Jim take your son to the baseball game, and you thought Uncle Jim was the best person in the world because he takes you to the baseball game, when all along he takes you to the baseball game to fondle you. We just don't know the things that are going on. And now, Al Wise, who's he speaks on daddy issues. He's our anchor. He always has something to say about daddy issues. Al Wise was here now. He would be able to tell us that we just don't have a clue right now about raising some of these new kids. They just don't have enough information, y'all. They don't have enough information. They're not out there. They don't know. As I said, and I'm gonna move off and let the panel continue and comment. I use Cece as a topic. Cece has two sons. One's 21, 22, one's 24, 25. They're nothing alike. They're nothing alike. Now, me, my daughters are all, and kids, y'all all know my family. Y'all know my kids. Well to do. Everybody got good jobs and stuff like that. When they time come to pay me, they'll pay me whatever they want. They owe daddy $500. They give me $4. I'm so happy that I get it. B and Gina, I'm happy as hell to get anything from them. Give me that $4. Thank you very much. Don't worry about the 100. Just the idea that you gave me something. Cece is totally different with her kids. Cece's son will owe her $313. And he will come over and say, hey, mama, here's $300. She say, thanks, baby. You really doing good. I'm real proud of you. And when he walking out the door, he'll say, I love you. And you know what? But my wife will say, that's good. I love you too. And I'll see you next Friday for that $13. I'll be looking at her like, I'd be like, what? Are you kidding? But that's how she raises her kids. And guess what now? It worked because when they older, guess what they do? They came today. They pay their bills. They live in one of our rental properties. Guess what? They pay their bills. They have learned to pay their bills. My kids got a lot of money, got good jobs and
Accountability.
degrees. Yeah, my kids, I've ruined them with that. I've ruined them with that. You know what I mean? So that's it.
I think
All
it's
right, y'all.
what you
Go ahead,
sow
B.
into your, I said I think it's what you sow into your kids. The different lessons and seeds that you sow into your kids, and they'll reap that when they get older.
And the thing is that Maurice, I love Party Marty, but he tell half the story because I'm that way, just like Gina said, because I have to make sure that I hold them accountable. I always told my sons that a man does not live off of a woman, and I am a woman. So just because I'm your mother, that does not change the game. You know, a man is supposed to do what a man is supposed to do. Now, my husband, on the other hand, the part of the story, he's like the best girl dad in the world. But he is equally as hard on his boys. And Bianca can definitely be a witness
Yeah.
because he don't hold their hand like he do the girls. And the girls don't even really need it. Really. None of them really need it. If I must say, he has a group of well-rounded, responsible children. So the girls don't need it. It's just because they're girls. To him, he will always see them as his baby girl. So he holds their hands, he proud of them, and they play right into it. That's his fault. But the boys, you see Jalen down there, live life on life terms, got him a beautiful fiance, ain't never called ass for a nickel. And these two little Martys, they live their life. And the girls got just as good jobs as they had, or better. But they know, if a girl ever has that experience. For me, I never had that experience of having a father in my life who was active like that. So I always my mindset, and the only thing you can teach your children are the things that you know. My mindset has always been that my mother told us from when we were small kids, a man don't work, don't eat. you know, to teach a man to fish. I mean, yeah, give a man a fish, feed him for a day, teach him to fish, and feed him for a lifetime. So those are the principles that I use when I deal with my children
You,
because
you,
they're not children, they're grown men. They're grown men. 26 and 22, they grown men. And when you get to the point where you feel as though you're old enough to make your own rules and you don't want to listen to your parents, I always tell my kids, that's fine with me. You know what I'm saying? Because we all got to take our responsibility.
you,
But at the same time, when you stop listening to me, then you stop being in my pocket. That's how that goes.
You know something, while we're on that, I laugh when I look at B because I think about her father Pedro, nice man, but I know B's probably spoiled as hell. Do you hear me? I go out with B, we come in town to see them, we go visit them sometime. When we go to the Hampton Jazz Festival, the festivals and stuff, they live in that area. So I stay over my son and my daughter-in-law's house. That's where we stay, right? See, enjoy ourselves. But anyhow, so when we get down there, we go out with mom and dad and all that. And her father has this thing about picking up the tab. It's sort of kind of a sickness, I believe, because he will get there. Him and his friends, they longshoremen. Mom's really educated and daddy's well-to-do, so they both financially secure, I'm sure. But that's their money. But anyhow, you get down there and you go with the tab, and the man told me, Bianca, that it was already paid. Now, how it's already paid if I beat everybody here? Me and C sitting down first. They're not here yet. It's impossible that it's paid. And when it come back, B will tell me, oh, he didn't call the head or came here 2 hours ago and left the card and stuff like that. So I know that's how he do his daughters and stuff. Like, we don't know any better. But, one good thing about it is, we do whatever we can, Gina and C, to get y'all the hell out of the house. That's what we got to go. Our kids are gone. That's what I'm saying. CC kids got their own apartment. Jalen and them got their own apartment.
Y'all feel comfortable enough for us to get out your house, though. You know what I mean? Like when we leave, you feel secure in the fact that y'all have taught the lessons, like CC, accountability. Yes. That's huge. That's huge. You have taught the lesson that now your sons know. Number one, I don't want to owe nobody.
Right.
And number two, people gonna collect on what they,
Absolutely. And this is my thing that I always tell them, Bianca. I tell them be very specific. You know what I'm saying? I am your mother. If you need something and you ask me for it, I'll give it to you. But if you ask me to borrow it, I want it back.
Right. Be
flat out. If you say, can I borrow some money? Sure, you can borrow some money. Can I borrow some money till Friday when I get paid? Absolutely. But Friday when you get paid, I'm gonna need my coins back. Yep. But if you say I'm short on money and I need $200. Don't put the word borrow on there because borrow means that you have to give it back. Now, if you just say you need it, then I'm not going to say no because you don't have it to give back because I'm your mother. But you got to learn those lessons in life. You know, you got, even though they live in one of our rental properties, they have to learn the lesson that you have to pay your rent. You know what I'm saying? Because if you rent from one of the wonderful people, as we call them, do you think they're gonna care that you paid tennis shoes or that you missed the day and didn't have no six time? They don't care. They want their money. Hey, Caesar, what Caesar said.
That's right. Hey, Gina, jump in there, baby. Hit me some comments.
Well, I agree with everything y'all have said. Um, Fortunately, I'm in a situation where I don't have to ask my parents for anything because both of them have gone on to glory.
Right.
But it made me stand on my own 2 feet at a very early age because they passed on early. And, being so, I have no siblings, I have no children, I have no spouse. So I don't really have anybody to fall back on except me.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me stand on my own 2 feet. And like Cece said, I had to become accountable. I couldn't blame anybody but me. So
Wow.
when things go wrong, when debt starts to pile up or whatever, anybody to blame but me, you know? And I take that responsibility, but I take it. I take it to God every night and ask Him to help me through whatever trials and tribulations I might have, and I'm still standing. So,
Yeah.
oh well.
And doing a great job at it. Hey, if you just chiming in, I want y'all to know we have different formats. A lot of times we have a bunch of information where we're just talking about who shot John and who got killed or what's going on with the Dow Jones or is there a spaceship in the air. And sometimes we're just talking about topics. Tonight we have Bianca's came in, sit in with us. You know, Cece and Gina are always on the panel. I just want to let you know tonight is just been awesome. We're just talking about life on life's term. Like Bianca's dealing with her husband over there. I mean, her fiance. He must
That's
be in the
right. We
air or
see
something
you,
like that.
Jalen.
I see you back and
He's
forth over there,
definitely
Jalen.
over here on the side.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know what I mean? Slide in there, Jalen.
We
Anytime,
see
Jack.
you. You got some topics you want to talk about, Jalen?
Jalen, you got a topic for us this evening?
No,
And
no,
right
not this
there,
evening. Hey, everybody.
that young handsome man right there is my youngest son. That's Jalen. That's my youngest son
He
and
just
his
he just
fiance.
he just hanging around to distract Bianca. He don't even have a topic.
Well, let me give you a Jalen. Stay for a minute. Let me give you this. This is what threw me off. Here's my topic. School. I can remember when Jalen's a sheriff in law enforcement field. He's a sheriff, and he was excited about being a sheriff. And all me and his mother was up there talking about. We said, "This damn fool." He done went over to got a college degree to be a sheriff. You could have took your ass and been a sheriff out of high school. We didn't understand that. You know what I mean? And my son is militant. You know what I mean? He's a AB. He's a king. He's a
A
king.
damn king.
He's a king. There you go. He's a king. You know what I mean? That's Donnie, our sponsor. That's my son, Donnie. He's one of you. He's a king. You know what I mean? And I didn't understand at that time the direction, but Jalen taught me something, and I listened to B. I guess that's why he fell in love with her. That's why that relationship is working because anything in life that you like, you'll be good at. I listen to B. When B starts talking about being a school teacher, she loves it. I can hear the passion in it. You know what I mean? What's going on? I can hear it. So Jalen decided he wanted to be a sheriff. We did not understand it. But Jalen has always been proud and he's always been happy to be a sheriff and law enforcement. He figured he's going to save the world. Donnie says thank you. And yes, again, to both of you, you people next to each other. Jalen, thank you for your service. B that's over there dealing with them children, thank you for your service. Jalen,
Thank you
thanks
for
for
your
poking
service.
in. Yeah, yeah. Everybody that's out there, thank you.
Hey,
All
Miss
right,
Eric.
Jalen. Hey, y'all, thanks for jumping in there. Okay, here's what we're going to do now as we segue in. You know what I mean? CC, you've been sitting over there in the wings. If y'all don't know that person over there whose name is close to mine, oh, it's the same as mine. Oh, mine is Party Marty. That's my lovely wife, Cece. As I always tease her, Cece reads. She's a geek, a nerd. Cece was in the market reading the ketchup bottle. After she started reading the ketchup bottle, I was done with her. That's too much reading. Now, if you want to read what's in the ingredients, if you want to read this, because she's on the smoothie cleanse and the juice and all that, so everything got to be natural. And we go to Trader Joe's, it all has to be fresh. But when you start reading the ketchup bottle, that's too damn much. But moving right along.
Let me just say this. Normally, I have a more put together topic than I do tonight. I'm just kind of getting y'all opinions on some things because everybody understands I respect their opinions. But the reason why is because I just came back from vacation. As you can see, I'm probably like 4 shades darker than I was. I just noticed that. I've been trying to get this light adjusted the whole time I've been sitting here because Bianca looks so beautiful. She and like sitting in the middle. She's always beautiful, but she under the right light. Even Gina got her stuff together tonight, and Gina usually be moving back and forth. Gina is sitting there in the middle. Even got my husband in there set up on my computer. I'm the only one got my thumb on the camera.
You still beautiful, girl.
Because I'm trying to get. I'm like, why do I look so dark? But I'm sitting in the same exact space, Donnie, under the same exact light. I think the Florida sun just got me looking a little not same exact. But do not go on a girls trip and do drunken karaoke. That's my tip to the panel tonight. I was on a girls trip. I was doing drunken karaoke, and as I sit here right now, I was so drunk I sprained my ankle. So,
Cece, please tell us y'all got video. Please tell us
I'm
y'all
glad
got
my
video.
microphone was turned down.
I'm sure somebody will be blackmailing me with the footage soon. But I'm so
You
that
only
was
live
my
once.
issue. I'm having issues tonight. I usually don't have that many. I did get the camera straight finally, but I usually don't have that many. Maurice is usually the one with the issues, and I'm the one that's running to save him. But tonight I need some saving of my own. But I'm still gonna be here, and I'm still gonna be a part of everything that's going on. But I did have one question that I wanted to get everybody's opinion on, especially Bianca. Thank you, Donnie. I wanted to know. I saw the news today, and they were talking about that tomorrow the Pfizer vaccine will be available for children ages 12 to 17, I believe. And they said it was 100% effective in that age group. So I want to know, like, as a teacher, and anybody here can chime in, or I want to know actually all of y'all's opinion, but how do y'all feel about that? Do you think that it's a parent's right or it's their duty to tell a child that young because obviously they can't consent without a parent? Do you think that it's a fair thing to do to a child, or do you think that they make their own decisions, or how do y'all feel about that?
Let
Do
me
you
let me go ahead, Gina.
I was gonna say all of us, every last one of us, had mumps, measles, rubella, diphtheria shots when we were young. We didn't ask. We didn't get permission from nobody. It was mandated. Okay.
That's
So
true.
yes, I say vaccinate your kids. That's what I think. That's my opinion.
Let me go next. I'm in there. Let me say, I 100% agree with Gina. I'm going to tell you this right now. We need to do the best we can as the topic started. How did we get here to get back to normal? I don't know if y'all understand this. Frank told us this, Frank and Brittany. My nephew Frank, one of the panel members, and we'll welcome him back pretty soon, told us that's the problem with young people. They had in their mind the problem that he had with the vaccine is People get the vaccine and think they're bulletproof. These young people now, they don't think they can get it. They think because they feel normal, they hanging out and stuff like that. Twyla always says the vulnerable state, the vulnerable gap is between 25 to 40, which Twyla says she's in that gap. They just always partying. They always in Miami. They ripping and running without their mask on. You know, if a child, and that's what you are if you're under 17. You're a child. You're a child. You can call it anything else. You're a child. You can't make an adult decision until you're at least 18. Then I think that the parents should be able to make a decision and tell them, yes, you need to get it. Y'all, we need to do whatever we can to get back to some type of normalcy. And people don't realize this. Our sponsor right there, Don, he's an educated individual, a world traveler, and he reads and talks about a lot of stuff. Donnie kept saying to us when it started, and I didn't understand. Donnie said, man, did you hear? You remember the Tuskegee Institution? You remember the hospital in East Baltimore? You remember this? I'm not getting vaccinated. I'm not getting vaccinated. I remember Donnie saying it. After enough information, he came on there one day party. Got mine. Got his shot. After you get some information, y'all, you'll know that you must get this shot. You must get this shot. So my answer to your question, CC, yes, I think everybody should have to get it. Like Gina said, we didn't have any choice in that situation. You know what I mean? We came along. You had to get it. Hey, B, real quick, is Jalen still next to you? Jalen, get in there. What's your opinion on the vaccine?
For children.
For children. What do you think? Do you think they should have to get the vaccine? Do they have a choice? What's your opinion?
What was the young lady name that spoke first, Miss Gina? I'm kind of siding with Miss Gina. I feel like if you're in that age group and you talking about putting them in a group setting to get education, I think that they should be required to get the vaccine. Yeah.
Yeah,
like you said, I mean, we all had to get all those tetanus and all those type of shots when we was growing up, going to school and places like and like you said, I don't work in the school, but I think anybody could agree or have the general knowledge that that's a breeding ground for germs. You know what I mean? Germs and viruses, and you in a close proximity with people all day. Yeah.
Sure. And technically, Jalen, you do work in a school because your wife works there and she can bring it straight home to you.
Yes, sir.
It's in your house every day, on your kitchen every day, in your bed every night. You know what I mean? We never know what's going on. Thanks, Jalen. Mm-hmm. Hey, I'm gonna piggyback on this and get a little bit off of the topic, but the same thing. I want you to think about the bad decisions that are being made by some of these parents. Do you know when I came along, when you was at the hospital, you got circumcised? When you were a boy, you came to the hospital as a baby. When you were a day old, a week old, before you went home, you got circumcised. Well, they start letting these parents make the decision. I'm going to get it done later. I'm going to do this. I ain't do it. Don't you know, I look at people, adults that have never been circumcised, 24, 26 years old. I'm looking at them. You know how nasty that is, first of all. We adults, you know what I mean? Then you go off and tell this girl, yeah, what you want me to do here? I'm not touching that thing. I'm sitting back thinking about this. The bad decisions that are made by these young parents. Cece always talked about that. And Gina, your grandmother now is 30. You know what I mean? You ain't got no. What do you know about it? Your mother, you call her Shirley. She 19. You know what I mean? And you 10. Wait a minute. How old are y'all? Oh, yeah, that's your grandmother at the club with you. Go ahead, B.
So, you bring a good point about parenting, and I'm not a mother, so, I try to have some grace with parents, but.
Yeah, wait a minute. Ho. You're not a mother yet.
Not a mother yet.
I need grandkids. Go ahead.
You got grandkids? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. Hey, Jalen, if nothing else, just keep practicing. Keep practicing, Jalen. Keep practicing.
Let finish.
Go ahead.
But so I try to give grace to parents. However, you're talking about people who weren't really raised. I feel like after the 70s, parenting just completely changed. I guess, you could blame the crack epidemic, you could blame whatever, but parenting just completely shifted. So now you got these babies raising babies. Then you got more babies raising babies, and then the process. And so parents don't really look at kids. Parents look at kids more so as a not as an investment anymore. And your kid is an investment. You have to invest time. You have to invest effort into your child. Whereas parents nowadays, they're like, here's a screen, here's a phone. Go somewhere out of my, your
And
body.
they proud of it too.
And very
They
proud
told
of
me,
it.
you don't have to do nothing for my child. They just let them watch YouTube.
Yep, all day long. And so you have parents whose kids don't know how to read at 6 years old, but they know how to get on YouTube and post a video or like a video. And so what can we really expect when it comes to, not saying that that should be our standard, but why are we surprised when these kids are failing all their classes and have a 0.1 GPA? Because we're not looking at, we're not investing in our kids anymore.
That's
And
so
so
true.
that vaccine, to go back to the vaccine question, I think it should be, I don't know if I necessarily think it should be a requirement for you to enter school, because you don't know people's backgrounds, and we don't know how these medications interact with other medications. You talk about these teenagers, they're on all these different meds, and not and so long story short, I think it should be a case by case. I think, like, yes, we should strongly suggest that your child gets vaccinated, but
Right.
I don't know if I necessarily believe it should be a one size fits all. You get vaccinated or you don't come to school. I think that's a
And
little
see,
unfair.
I definitely agree with Gina because we had to get all of the required vaccinations. I'm sure all of us did. We didn't have a choice. We couldn't go to school unless we got those shots. Even back in the day, people used to get chicken pox, put all the kids together in one room, let everybody get chicken pox at once. But now there's even a chicken pox vaccine, So I think that I don't know what would be short of making it a mandate, but I do think that it should, as you said, Bianca, should be a very strong suggestion. And if I was raising a child of school age, knowing what I know now and seeing what I saw last year, then I would definitely make that decision for my child to be vaccinated.
Jumping in there, BB just now said that her family was at 14 was having kids. Anyway, BB, well, I'm gonna tell you something. You turned out just fine. Great job, and thank you for being with us all the time, Brenda.
I'm with you, BB. My parents got married when they were 15. My
Jesus.
parents got married and had a baby. They had one child and were married at 15 years
But
old.
that
So,
wasn't uncommon back then,
Yeah,
right.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And
you
Mhm.
know.
you have
I
more,
mean,
well, go ahead, Miss
because
Jenny.
people were accountable back then and were willing to put in the work to raise their families.
That's the key.
Go
That's
ahead,
the
Yes.
B.
key. Your mom worked crazy hard. Your dad worked. You know what I mean? Like Miss Jenna said, they put in that time and effort. Whereas now, if a 15-year-old has a baby,
She looking to
Right.
her mother to raise her child.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
But
like,
Alfred.
and some of this, and that's all of that's very true. But some of this, I mean, children are children. They know what we teach them and what they learn along the way. But at the same time, some of this is on these parents with all of this coddling and handholding. My mother made it 100% crystal clear from the time I had my first period that if you have a baby, that's your baby. You know what I'm saying? I ain't no babysitter. I'm not the living nanny or any of that. If you have a baby, because they contend these kids nowadays, they have baby after baby because nobody ever makes them feel like it's their responsibility. Either the grandmother gonna raise the baby, the great grandmother. Some people that have already, and people always be like, "Yeah, I'll just leave with my grandmother." Well, your grandmother raised her children already. When you gonna raise yours?
and
I'm gonna tell you something to think about this being then to you. Hey, when we're talking about making a decision on whether they should be forced to get the shot or not, Let's use my wife as an example. My wife fancies herself a world traveler. I tell you, my wife has not met a plane or an island that she does not like. All CC wants to do is go on vacation. I never knew this before I married her. But CC stay on vacation. But do you know from the moment that she got her shot, everybody else would have been saying, oh yeah, I got my shot. I'm not gonna get the pandemic. I really feel good about myself. Well, you know, when we was leaving out of M&T Stadium, what CC was talking about, I'm ready to get on that plane now. I'm ready to get on that plane now. You cannot get on an airplane going to Europe or a foreign country if you have not had that shot. If you don't have that paperwork, right? See, if you don't have the paperwork saying that you have been vaccinated, had that corona shot, you can't fly. You can't fly. You just can't fly. So a lot of people, they forcing us if we want a vacation to get that shot. You know what I mean? So we go off and tell a kid, you got a choice. That kid can have a choice all he want to, but I'm gonna tell you one thing: he or she will not get on that airplane. That's the truth. They will not get on that airplane.
And
B.
that's how they're gonna get them though. You know, even if they make these shots optional, they're gonna say, well, the shot is optional, but in order for you to be on the basketball team, you got to be vaccinated. In order for you to be on the football team, you got to be vaccinated. In order for you to participate in the homecoming court, you got to be vaccinated. And that's how they're going to get a lot of it. So, you know, while all day long they can say you have a choice, yeah, you have a choice, but you also have the choice to be in your house bored to death and not with your friends because you decided not to get the vaccination.
I think I'm gonna get that shot then. That's what he gonna say. He or she gonna say, I think I'm gonna get that shot.
Yeah.
Hey y'all,
Right.
go ahead, see.
I was just going to say, but the only thing that I think that is just an unfair situation because some of these children are going to have the opposite problem. They're going to want to get vaccinated, but because their parents have decided that they're not going to get vaccinated, then they're not going to let the children to get vaccinated. I've already heard people say that never my child. My child ain't getting no vaccine, and I'm not getting a vaccine either. So for those children, let us pray.
Real talk. Hey y'all, as usual, always an awesome job to the panel. Always an awesome job to the panel. Before we leave out here, we got something that we always do call a burning desire. Does anybody have a topic or something that they want to talk on before we go in the last 5 minutes that they didn't get to talk on or want to bring up? Gina, Bianca, Eva, y'all?
I just want to say I'm a kid at heart and I love fireworks, and they've canceled the fireworks this year.
4th of July?
Yeah.
Wow. That's sad. Hey, Donnie, you might not have been here at the start. We started with the prayer. We always start with the prayer. Hey, y'all, here's what we do. Here's what we do, y'all. We always go around the horn for the last thing to figure out what's going to take us home. So we go with closing thoughts. Gina Lee, what's your closing thought for the day?
Get the shot.
Get the shot. Get the shot. Get the shot. CC, closing thoughts for the day.
No more drunken karaoke and let your kids get the shot.
BB, closing thoughts, B.
Invest in your child, not just money, but time and effort as well.
Wow, Brenda. Yeah, hey, my closing thoughts is you're only as good as your team. I want to thank my team for always being there. You know what I mean? Today we had a different format. We did it a little bit differently, and I really enjoyed this show. All the shows won't be the same. This has been a nice, wholesome, down-to-earth conversation with a lot of opinions. We're going to thank our guest B for jumping in there and pray
Thanks
that
for
she
having
comes
me.
back again. We're going to make sure that we tell CC thank you again with your drunken
Love you,
self.
Cece.
You know what I mean? And put your ankle up your husband or rub your leg or something like that. And Gina Lee, my closing thought for you was your camera was awesome this evening. Your
Yes.
camera is awesome. Hands up, hands up, hands up, hands up, hands up. Okay, here's what we do, y'all. We always, after we finish, I tell y'all my little story. We're closing and stuff like that. I have a thing that I go off with, and it always means a lot to me. This is not a black show. This is not a white show. This is just an informative show. I have a favorite rapper. I don't care if he's white, black, or green. It's Eminem. And Eminem has a song that simply goes like this. He says, remember this, y'all. You have to lose yourself. With the music, the moment, you need to own it. Never let it go. I only got one shot. We did not miss our chance, or did we blow? Our opportunity for It's Party Marty, Let's Talk came once in a lifetime, yo. Hands up, panel. Excellent job. Hands up, hands up, hands up. All right, y'all. As always, thank you for an awesome show. To God be the glory. See you next week. Good night, B. Good night, Gina Lee. Good night, CC.
Good night.
Good night, Johnny. Good night, John Boy.